pothos, you know, have your picking. It's your world. We just live in it.
I love the vibes so much. I agree. Pothos are a really great plant. They're not as forgiving as some people would say as far as watering goes. Like if you want to have big, beautiful, full pothos like hers, you cannot skip watering too often because they get very leggy. Like they will lose leaves at the base of the plant from underwatering. And that's a common thing with a lot of plants, but it's like especially noticeable with pothos because it's a vine. Really any vining plant is going to do that. So make sure that once it starts to droop, you're giving it water, because I have a pothos that I have really kept up with and have been just paying attention to her, giving her what she needs when she says it. And she looks amazing. Probably the best looking pothos I've ever had. So I would agree, pothos is great. Also super easy to propagate.
Now this one may come from left field. The Philodendron Billy. I adore this plant. It's a very slow grower, but because of that, you have a lot of leeway to neglect this plant. And looks sexy. Look at the shape of those leaves. Beginner friendly, sexy, cute, and unique looking. A little slow, but still cute. All right, don't get...
Okay. Do I relate to the Billy? I think that this is not one that I expected. Okay, my dog's coming to say hi. Hi, Koopy. This is not one that I expected her to say, but I actually wholeheartedly agree. This is one of those plants that I have neglected mine so badly before, and it literally never acted like it was in a drought for many months. So I wholeheartedly agree with this one. I think that the Billy is a great one because it has not like super thick succulent-y leaves, but the leaves have a little bit of like, you know, they're like a cardstock leaf, and then the stems are very thick. I'm gonna say hard agree on this one.
All right, don't get scared, because we're about to jump into anthuriums. I love a good clarinervium. These plants are hardy, they're really simple, they're okay in ambient humidity. While these do require a little bit more attention, I feel like this is a good entry-level anthurium if you want to jump into them.
Oh, I hate to disagree with Paige, but like, listen, anthurium are a little intense, like especially the velvety leaf anthuriums. They tend to be a little bit much. The anthurium that I suggest people start off with is the Anthurium veitchii, or really any of the anthuriums that are green, not waxy, but like shiny leaves. So I would say avoid the velvety leaves until you have like a couple under your belt. However, clarinervium are becoming much more accessible and cheaper. So if you wanted to give it a try and you can find one for like 30 bucks and that doesn't feel like a big deal to you, go for it. But if I was to give you a beginner anthurium, I would give you the Anthurium veitchii.
Is the Monstera deliciosa. I will buy this plant over and over and over and over and over again. That's how much I love Monstera deliciosas. They start off small, but man, when they give, hope that helps.
Okay, I agree with this one. Like wholeheartedly, Monstera deliciosa is a great one. I have mine right here. The leaf that's front and center is like broken. There's other leaves that are way prettier. Whatever. Yes, Monstera deliciosa is great. It's really cool to see it go from little to big. It's just a cool experience and it can handle some neglect as well. Okay, next up, this is a post from Prickle Plants.
Got a problem with condensation? Here's the best houseplants to help absorb that extra moisture. So first up is the peace lily. This plant purifies the air and helps.
Okay, so they're saying that houseplants will absorb moisture. So if you're having problems with moisture, to put houseplants in your house. And these plants will absorb it. Okay.
Plant purifies the air and helps soak up any extra humidity. Next is the Boston fern. This plant's really good for any high moisture areas in your house, like maybe your kitchen and your bathroom. It really helps absorb any extra moisture with its feathery leaves.
Okay. No. No, not exactly. I've never heard someone make this claim before. First of all, plants are not going to purify the air as much as you think they are. This is a really common misconception and something that every time I see it, I wanted to sit down and enjoy my evening. And all of a sudden I hear this agitating, grating voice of somebody saying that houseplants purify the air. They do, but it's really the soil. And I have a video, it's a couple years old, but I actually read the NASA study that people pull this fact from. And according to the study, it's mostly the soil that's actually doing the cleaning. And in order to actually feel the effects of houseplants cleaning your air, you're gonna have to have a ton of them, like one every square inch. Like seriously, that's an exaggeration, but way more than the average person or whatever. You couldn't walk in your house. Long story short, you couldn't walk in your house.
And last up is the spider plant, which is great for keeping any humidity in check. So add these plants to your home and let nature take care of any extra moisture. What one's your favorite?
I don't agree with the sentiment that plants are going to absorb extra moisture. If you are genuinely having issues in your home where it's holding moisture more than it should, you should get a dehumidifier. Please. We don't want mold. Okay, next up we have a video from Ashley Anita, Life with Ashley Anita.
Get this, not that houseplant edition. As somebody that has over 250 houseplants, here are the plants that I would stay away from and what to get instead. Calathea are recognized as some of the most beautiful houseplants, but also some of the fussiest houseplants. Instead, go with an Aglaonema. Again, beautiful leaves, but they're not as fussy. You even get beautiful pink ones. Now, fern.
Okay, I agree that the Aglaonema is a really great alternative to a Calathea. I never actually thought of it that way, but the Aglaonema has so many different leaf designs and colors, leaf designs as if somebody's drawing this, but you know what I mean. So many different leaf variations and colors and like wide leaves, skinny leaves. Like I think that's a really great alternative and I've never thought of it that way. Aglaonema is definitely one of the plants that I highly recommend to beginners.
Fern are some very popular houseplants, but they're not tolerant to any kind of drought and they will crisp up and drop leaves very quickly if they're given drought. However, if you go with a bird's nest fern like this hurricane bird's nest fern, they're much more drought tolerant, so go with one of these instead.
I agree with this as well, and I think I would also add on, so far based on my experience, that Platycerium, aka staghorn ferns, are also a really great fern to do if you are wanting to dabble in ferns and you're just kind of not sure if you can handle the amount of moisture that they need. I've had a staghorn for, I want to say, almost a year now, and it's doing really great. I actually didn't think it was really a fern because it has lived so happily in my home, but it is. I had to Google that, and it is actually a real fern. I think that the bird's nest fern is a really great alternative and one that I actually purchased for a friend's classroom. When I was doing her classroom, I was just looking for low maintenance plants, and that's one of the ones that I picked. And to this day, I believe it is still doing really well. So 2 thumbs up for the bird's nest fern.
Then we have the Stromanthe. If you like the pink of these Stromanthe leaves, maybe go for a ruby rubber tree like this one, or one of the pink Aglaonema varieties. Those are going to be so much easier.
I don't know if the ruby Ficus elastica is a good alternative for this, but I do like the Aglaonema option. It's just one of those plants that's really hard to swap out because it is just so striking. Like the Stromanthe is just absolutely gorgeous. So I don't know. I think this one is like, get it as a long-term flower arrangement and just see how long it lasts. And they're usually pretty cheap anyway if you really want it in your home. I have been tempted many times. I have brought one home many times, but it doesn't last. And that's okay.
Alocasia, like this Cucullata alocasia, are beautiful but very pest prone. So instead go with like a Syngonium like this one, or you could even do an Anthurium that has similar shaped leaves and beautiful blooms.
I find Syngonium, as I said earlier in this video, I find Syngonium very pest prone as well. Not as much as Alocasia, but it kind of feels like you're swapping one type of apple for a different type of apple. I feel like the issues that I've had with Alocasia were mostly moisture related. So if you are generally having issues with Alocasia, maybe just try to do a Monstera because you do get that big leaf look, or maybe like a big leaf philodendron would be a good option for you, because I just don't feel like Syngonium is going to replace that big leaf feeling that an Alocasia can bring. So I would suggest maybe swapping that one out for like a big leaf philodendron like a Mamii or a Plomanii, or even a Gloriosum if you can get one that's a little bit more mature. That video is super long and I'm sure that the rest of her swaps are great, but we're gonna move on to another video so that we can get more in. So this video is from Tanner the Planter, who has 1.8 million followers on TikTok, which is crazy. It looks like he either owns a shop or works at a shop. I don't know, high quality videos, lots of information. I'm feeling good about this.
Customer brought in this houseplant clearly in a little bit of distress. I'm gonna show you what's wrong with it and how to fix it. I'm gonna start off by
Just off the top, this plant looks like it has been, it looks like root rot. to begin with, like curly leaves. There's still a lot of leaves there, but they're very curly and yellow. I mean, obviously the plant is not happy, but I'm going to assume something like it's a watering issue.
Start off by loosening the root ball. We gotta get in and see those roots. The health of the roots is the health of your plant after all. So that's our very first